close, ye sailor keen, and interviews rising on the sea. With shipboard yarns and oceans low, you'll shed the light like never before. Interview with echoes of the sea, captains who guides where the secrets be.
Avast my village brats! Tonight, I've got the pleasure of interviewing the owner and host of the mighty fine California web radio that plays nothing but shanties and pirato music. The one and only SpyderMonkey Shanty Radio. So without delay, let's welcome aboard Justin Mack. How you doing, matey?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Not bad at all. Since you're here, I've got all kinds of questions to ask you. And one of it is SpyderMonkey Shanty Radio has carved out a unique space in the internet radio world. What inspired you to create that station dedicated to the seafaring music?
So with the seafaring music, I go back, to folk music. I grew up listening to folk music. I love ballads, and I got into shanties based off. I used to play games and read a lot of maritime stories, and so I got into some old shanties. I actually came across from who was it? It was Edwin McCall. Is Banks of Newfoundland was actually the first shanty that I remember hearing. And from there, I just kind of fell in love. I'm like, what are these? And, I kind of looked more into it. And the more I listened, the more I loved. And it's just the, exciting adventure. So I was like, that was my inspiration for it. And, trying to find this type of music at this time, it wasn't too familiar with the scene. And so I found a couple stations, but they've kind of replayed the same, 5 albums. And so I'm like, okay, yeah. So I was like, I kind of want to do more. And I ended up accumulating so much music of these style of songs. And so I was like, well, what can I do with all this? I'm like, oh, I can see if I can find a way to present it to others. And that's where the whole radio idea came in.
Oh, excellent. And I know you are playing a mix of shanties and pirate ballad and offshore folk music. How did you select those songs and artists featured on your station?
So as I put music on, it's usually when I come across it. When I come across it, and I find a lot of new songs, and I just think it's fantastic. But a lot of the things, I have 46 categories of how I put things onto the radio station right now, because that's the way my brain works.
Oh, wow.
So I've got about 46 categories that I kind of put things into based on what they're singing about, their the style, and then I have things. Pick out music for shows or just playlists that play on the station. So I have a main rotation. But then when I do my actual shows, which is the Roaring Melody, those are usually crafted based on, if it's a certain holiday or requests or just, hey, we're going to do full out shanties this day, or this all of a sudden, oh, we're going to do piracy on this day, and kind of give a little history and backstory of it. So.
Yeah, excellent. And you know that the maritime music has a long and rich story. Do you see resurgence of interest in sea shanties and folk song today?
I do. I think most people would say that, which is a great song, which would say, let's say Nathan Evans. I mean, everyone's pretty much in the seafaring world has heard Nathan Evans from his the folk song, The Wellerman. But I think the whole thing with music, I would say the spike started mainly for pirate groups and pirate music groups with Pirates of the Caribbean in the early 2000s. I think that kind of spiked up a little bit with people's more interest in piracy. There was a video game that was released called Assassin's Creed Black Flag in about 2013, I think it was. And they featured, it was a full assassin game and you played a pirate character. But it was a full arsenal of shanties, and being into shanties when I first played it, it was falling in love with every shanty over again. I'm like, I know this one. I think that actually opened up a lot of shanties to a lot of gamers. I think that was maybe a big spike. But then when COVID hit and everyone was down, when Nathan Evans did The Weatherman, that got a lot of people that maybe didn't even know what a sea song was, or into this type of music. I think it bumped up a lot of performers.
Yeah, absolutely right. And as a host of SpyderMonkey Shanty Radio, what is your favorite part of running a station? Do you have any like personal connection to seafaring music or artist?
So I don't have, let's say, as family. I mean, we were seafarers a long time ago. Mostly, military-based stuff, which would be the call and response style for like shanties and stuff. But the only nautical connection that I really have is, when I was a kid, I loved nautical-themed adventures, Treasure Island. You have the Odyssey, a bunch of video games. In the 90s, I fell in love with, pirates, really, and fell in love with pirates with Tim Curry as Long John Silver for Muppets Treasure Island. That was like my favorite thing. I still love that movie. But yeah, it's that's pretty much my main connection with it, is just the childhood interest.
Yes, for sure. Like I think every kids at one point discover pirates and fall in love with piracy. Yeah.
Yeah, some people grow out of it, and some people don't. I'm not the one that grew out of it. Just a tall child.
So you had the chance of featuring some of the incredible performer, and are there any memorable moment or interview that stands out for you?
So I'm still new to the interviewing world. I've done about 5 interviews. All of them have been fantastic because, you get to meet a lot of different people, especially when you get to ask performers about, their music, what inspired you to create, what was your, this is kind of like what you're doing with the, hey, what got you this? It's always fascinating to me to find out what gets everyone ticking to what they do. But yeah, we had a streamer, a Twitch streamer by the name of Ravenarmed, who does like impersonations of Jack Sparrow. So he does a lot of that kind of stuff. We got some shanty singers that did some fantastic jobs for some of their new releases. I think probably I would say the Auckland Shanty Singers. Our interview ended up lasting like I would say like an hour and a half to 2 hours, just chatting, and they were singing songs as well. So we had a bunch of music that played.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. Yeah. So are there any like underrated artists or band in the maritime music scene that you think deserve more recognition?
Well, there's quite a bit. But I would say I'm going to go with, I would say the ones that kind of write their own songs, even though I love listening to older, sea shanties and stuff like that. There's a couple groups. There's like Scarecrow Jack. They do a lot of songs based off autumn, scarecrows, and pirates. They just released a new album that was called October, which is like almost all piracy, which was a fantastic one. Seafaring wise, I mean, there's a group called Secret Harbor. They do like metaphorical sea-based songs. They're worth a shout out. And steampunk, even steampunk artists. There's Abney Park. They do like Air Pirates, which is kind of fun, like a whole steampunk world. It's like a different vibe, but it's kind of cool.
Excellent. So Monkey Shanty Radio reach a listener all over the world. Have you noticed any thread in who's turning in and how they do the engagement with the station?
Yeah. So for the longest time, it's so like the years that I've been doing it, 7 years this year. It's been U.S., UK, and Canada were the biggest 3 listeners of the station. Germany actually, by last year, just went to the number 2 spot, which was pretty crazy. And right now they're about 29% in. So of what makes up of all the listeners right now. So it's pretty cool. As for engagements, the only engagements I kind of do is when I do the Twitch show, when I'm live with that. So it's like, listener requests, people tuning in right then and there. Otherwise, it's like usually emails or messages. But I do tend, based on who's listening, if there's a huge popular, a huge group of people from different areas going, I will like put some, I'll tailor some sea sounds and shanties, based in the language of the area if I have it. So I'll kind of like put in a little bit of that music and things like that, just to see if they go like, oh, hey, I know this.
Yeah, we need to play to please our audience. So, in your opinion, what makes seafaring music so timeless and appealing to such a wide audience?
That is a good question. I would say probably you have rich culture, history and culture. The sea giveth and the sea taketh. But there's the adventure into the unknown, sense of freedom and possibilities, as well as the old sailors telling stories of things that have happened, things that will happen if you don't change your ways, things like that, warnings. There's all kinds of just messages and rich history with it. Yeah,
and you can plan all kind of a show around that too. So is there some exciting upcoming project, live broadcasts or collaboration plan for SpyderMonkey Shanties radios in the near future?
Yeah, well, right now my biggest project I'm working on is I'm doing kind of like a revamp of the station. I'm bringing up new rotations. I'm going to be trying to get a bunch of new things going on. I want to introduce, because I try to keep everything on the station more focused towards authentic style music, so I don't get too much into the heavy stuff. I do let some slip in every now and then, but that's my genre of music, but it's extreme heavy stuff. But I do want to introduce I know there's pirate core out there, but I want to introduce nauticore, which is nautical hardcore music, and all those kind of categories fit into it, because there's a lot of pirate core, but then all those, there's a lot of pirate bands, but they don't all sing pirate songs, but they sing nautical bass songs. So I kind of want to get at least an hour going on the weekends or something of that kind of collaboration.
So is your station running 24 hours?
24 hours, yes.
Wow, that's amazing. That's something that we would like to do, but our staff is too short. We don't have enough time to do that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. I'm only sailing. I'm one on my little dinghy. So
wow, amazing work you're doing. So if someone wants to get into maritime music or even starting performing shanties, what advice would you give to them?
Well, I'm not a performer, I'll sing a couple songs here and there. I would say if you really want to get into shanties is to, tune in to SpyderMonkey Shanty Radio. Now, tune in, listen to go to the local, shanty festivals or maritime festivals. You hear a lot of these songs. I would say get some of the shanties, some lyrics, get some friends together, practice some songs, sing along. Go to maybe some parks, some water-based areas, and just start belting out. And it's amazing the amount of people that will kind of walk by and look at you and go like, "Wait a second, I know this," and they'll start singing along with you.
Absolutely, and you say that if they want to get known, supply the music to our music world or our radios, and we'll be happy to play them. So SpyderMonkey Shanty Radio is part of the international pirate community, and we are really happy to have you as a station that is playing pirate music and shanties music. Thank you for your generosity, and we'll talk again soon.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and you have yourself a fantastic one.
It's a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Pleasure's mine. All right.
You heard the man, me hearties. If you be wanting to hear amazing sea shanties and pirato music around the clock, then hoist yourself and turn in to SpyderMonkey Shanty Radio. This was an interview with I'm Captain Smooth and I'm ghostifying.